Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of June 4th, 2025. I can't even believe it's June. And I'm so excited for our member success series today with my awesome, amazing, wonderful co-host Chuck Casto. And yeah, we have a great episode for you today with two great guys who have a ton of really great tips to share, success stories to share. I know I've just recently heard of some things with you, Geoffrey, and I just met Dan in person yesterday in Anaheim.
Wow.
He is an ambassador in Anaheim, California, and we hung out yesterday at his Alliance event. So anyway, do you want to kick us off with, well, we should do introductions, I suppose. Those of you who don't
Sure.
know me, I'm Sue Brooke. I've been a member on Alignable for about 11 years, a member, but I've been on the Alignable teams for almost 5 years now. And fun fact, I live and travel in a motorhome all over the country. I've been doing that for, actually, I took off 4 years ago yesterday, Chuck. I found out
Wow.
yesterday
Four?
was from me just taking off. My first stop was Las Vegas from Southern California. Anyway, my job here is to teach people how to use Alignable and host awesome events like this. So, Chuck, go ahead and do your
That's
introduction.
great. Okay, so I'm Chuck Casto. I'm the head of PR, news, research, doing the newsletter, and I'm the contest king. So that's how most people know me through some of that. And I have been here almost 7 years on Alignable. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad finally retired at age 80, and he is 89 now, and he is delivering meals to people on Meals on Wheels who are younger than he is.
My
And because he just, well, I mean, we are workaholics, God love us. So whether you're working or not, that guy's working. And so anyway, it runs in the family. But, obviously I have a great passion for small business, for entrepreneurs. And, I'm also running all the polls, trying to amplify your voices. Because when I first got here, I said, you know what? People aren't listening to them enough and they need to. So that's my story.
I love it. Dan, give a quick introduction for you.
Let's see here. We have been on Alignable for about 2.5 years. At this juncture, now I'm local ambassador for Anaheim, but we also do an Orange County Alliance. So, which I really like the idea of the way we've gone in on the Alliance for a geography, because now it's getting down into building a team of other ambassadors and other moderators and other community leaders with chambers and other networking groups to actually bring together a very fast growing group. Orange County's got something like 90,000 alignable members. 1,800, no, it's 1,900 now, are now in the Orange County Alliance. So my focus these days, and even though I'm a digital marketing guy, we could go anywhere in the country. And my focus is really more to do with the home service trades. And we kind of, as a mantra, is like local branding for local search. Because that's the way the world on the internet now works. You need to really get a local brand. And and I'm only going to throw this out as an observation, Sue, because I think it's really important to get it out there. That alignable profile that you have has so much connective tissue to the Google business profile. It has reviews, it has recommendations. You can put in products, you can do services. I'll do a post here in the chat to kind of follow up to show you what I look at and how Alignable's profile plays a place in your local marketing strategy for winning the local search with Google. It
Awesome.
truly comes up. It's impossible to miss if you know what you're looking for. That if I look for my company and I do a search exactly the way I've set up my alignable profile, the odds are very high that it's going to come up on page one, which should
Awesome.
tell you it's that important to Google now as part of your local branding efforts. There's a
All
lot
right.
we can put in. So either way, that's in on that. So it's been a very good ride at discovery. of sorts of figuring out who your clients are. But now I think I'm down to really being mastering how do you do this thing locally and have it really benefit people. So,
Okay, well, we're gonna get into that. Let's do some. Let Geoffrey introduce himself real quick.
Sure, sure. So I am a semi-retired serial entrepreneur. So I've been on the platform probably not long after it launched. But so I had a grad school classmate reach out to me. She had a trucking business in northern New Jersey, and she was selling the business and retiring. She and her husband, and they were moving to Florida. So she reached out and said, "Hey, there's this new online platform called Alignable. Would you join? I want to stay in touch with people, and this is a way we can stay in touch." So I created a profile. I'm sure it was a horrible profile at the time, and basically was inactive on the platform for years, and started really getting active about a year and a half ago. So, but I tell people I've studied, I've taught and done entrepreneurship. So I have an MBA from the Wharton School of Business and Entrepreneurial Management. I taught entrepreneurship at Lincoln University. I was an adjunct professor teaching entrepreneurship, 5 classes, both international and domestic entrepreneurship in the 2010s. And over the last 5 decades, I've taken more than 20 ventures from launch through to my desired exit. Sold my last private cloud computing company 12 years ago, and as a result of that venture, really haven't had to work since. So I spend my time now just mentoring other entrepreneurs.
I love it. And that's what Alignable really is all about, right? It's helping and supporting each other. We're all here. It's a lonely job being an entrepreneur, right? So let's start with I'll just start with Geoffrey since you were just still talking here. What is your biggest success story on Alignable?
Biggest success story. I actually, I probably have a couple, but I'm going to narrow down to what I told Chuck earlier I would do this
Here
at
it comes.
his 1 o'clock call. But I actually just published my first book. Chuck's got it there. So it is on Amazon as of yesterday. But I've mentioned to Chuck, well, one, because I talk about, I wanted to give entrepreneurs kind of the template for entrepreneurial success, and from a strategic standpoint, what are all the things you need to do to launch a business, exponentially scale the growth of it to your desired exit, and so through that exit, secure your individual future, create generational wealth for your family. I've done that. I wanted to show other people how to do it, and it's actually fairly simple. It's hard to implement, but it's the concepts around it are actually quite simple. It's all a lot of common sense. So created that book, and so part of what I did in the book, I actually so chapter 16 of the book, I talk about ways to promote, kind of promote your business. So I talk in great length in that chapter about Alignable. And actually, I had reached out to Chuck when I was writing and said, you guys have all these ways that you profile all these great stories on Alignable. Could I include some of these stories in my book? And he was gracious enough to say, absolutely, you can. So I was able to get people like Victor Felix, Steve Levinson, and I didn't even need to change it. Chuck's such a good writer. I just I just took his story and told
You're
told
the
the guy.
best, man. I'm glad this is being recorded. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm just like just format it so it's consistent with all the other type in the book, but just put it in the book. Don't change a thing. So but everyone that had anything to do with making and getting this book done, from my co-writer, who Lee Bernstein in New Mexico is an Alignable member. Everyone's Alignable member. I met this woman Claudette Forbin, who's a financial consultant in Long Island. She's an Alignable member. She introduced me to Victor Felix. Victor obviously is an Alignable member. Victor ended up doing all the illustrations for the book, and his story is in chapter 16. Lee introduced me to Lee Bernstein, who co-wrote the book with me. Lee's an Alignable member. Victor introduced me to Amber Chapman, who edited the book. She's in Cleveland, Ohio, another Alignable member. Victor introduced me to Dave Vasudevan, the printer of the book, in Chicago, another Alignable member. I had created an online course for entrepreneurs with a company in Seattle. The CEO of the company her name's Dawn Hunter. She's an Alignable member. She introduced me to a very famous music producer. His name is Benny Pugh. He actually wrote the foreword for the book. He's in New York City, greater New York City area. He's an Alignable member. That actually surprised me. I didn't know. But that's the one person I didn't think would be Alignable, but he is an Alignable member. I mentioned Steve already, Steve Levinson. He's in Fort Lauderdale, and then Courtney and Abby Lynn Killeen. Abby Lynn is Courtney's daughter. They actually attended some of my Entrepreneur University learning sessions, and so Courtney attended initially, and again, they're both Alignable members. Well, Courtney's daughter, Abby Lynn, wrote the introduction to the book because Courtney attended one of my teaching sessions and then said, Jeff, can my daughter come to the next session? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Anybody can come. It's open to everybody. But then I was like, well, how old is your daughter? And she says, she's 11. I was like, okay, well, hopefully I don't want this to interfere with school. But she's like, no, not a problem. So,
So,
yeah, everybody that has anything to do with the book came from Alignable.
Amazing.
okay. All right. Our time is going to go really, really fast. We're only 15 minutes in here. So let's, so I do want to piggyback on this and ask Dan, because obviously, and by the way, I'm getting ready to do a compilation book where I'm going to be looking for authors on Alignable. So I love that. But you mentioned something, basically you created a project where you built relationships with other people on Alignable who helped you with that project. So it was all about helping and supporting each other. And I'm sure what they did, you helped and supported them. So Dan, do you have any stories about people that you've connected with on Alignable and the power of this huge network of people that you can connect with, and maybe even using Alignable 360 to find some of those people and introduce them to others?
Well, I'll start with the biggest success as it kind of goes in, and it's in the last 3 months. So
Nice.
we've had a fairly good outreach program of just trying to educate people the way we think about how Alignable can be leveraged and how to do local search. So we share information, it comes to us. But in the last 3 months, through a connection, it ran us into an investment group. And in this investment group, they buy businesses. And so now they have us go through several of the properties that they've got. In the last 3 months, it's equated into 25,000 in residual income and another 27,000 in single work that went out, a little over $300,000 this year. And there are 4 other projects that are lined up to be assessed. And they range. It's been an interesting mix of things. One of it's 4 nail salons. Well, the challenge is, how do they win local? So that's really what matters to them. 2 fencing companies, a trucking company that needed to win a local question. So either way, it's been an interesting journey, and it's all in much bigger accounts than we were kind of used to working with, because these guys are averaging $7,000 to $10,000 a month in what they do. So they're substantial projects. So anyway, those were the big ones. Outside of that, it is really, we're actively looking for strategic relationships now. It could be chambers, it could be somebody that does something that at the end of the day, I can help them, they could help me. What's the synergy that we can produce? I'm always looking for a strategic relationship, even if it's not an immediate win, but maybe they can help me bring in a relationship that I'm looking for. So either way, that's my 2 cents how Alignable's kind of played out for us so far.
Dan, could you articulate? Could you elaborate on what solving a question means? So that terminology is not commonly used by people that do what you do, and so I think a lot of people might not understand what you meant when you said that.
Okay, solving the question, I think, relates down to this. The internet is ruled by a question. How do you win the questions that matter to you in your backyard? I'm a plumber. I need to win in Huntington Beach. I need to win for 7 or 8 other questions. There's several components that lead into that. And one of the big ones, is this local branding that you've got to really build out these days. And at the end of that, you got to build trust. Trust cannot be understated in any way. Google is ruled by reviews. It's ruled by reputation. Alignable, its algorithm is done by recommendations and people that say things about you. Your best marketing is people saying good things about your business. So at the end of the day, how do you win questions? So you got to structure things the right way. Because a website, most of your marketing's got 2 audiences: consumers and search engines. So you gotta think, how's the question playing to both audiences? So does that kind of answer that?
All right, Chuck, I know we have so many questions to ask these awesome guys. Go ahead with your next question.
So many questions. I'm still thinking about his $300,000 he's gotten over the last couple months, or landing for this year, or whatever that is. That's a lot. That figures into a lot more than 7 to 10 a month. Like, that is really something. I gotta hand it to you, Dan. That's one of our best success stories. It really is. That's just fantastic.
Two investment groups do not land in your lap very often.
Yes. Well,
but what we're finding is one investment group seems to know another.
It's all about who you know.
The journey we're on, so we'll play that.
And obviously they liked what you're doing. I mean, that's the other thing. Wow, amazing. Okay, so what would you guys say to the brand new people here? I mean, we've got folks here who've been on Alignable for a long time, and they're really smart to come to these because there's always a little germ of knowledge that's shared that they didn't think about. But I'm thinking right now for all the newbies, okay, or for the folks who haven't been on Alignable or used it in a long time, and they're just like, I don't know what to do with this thing. Geoffrey, what is the number one thing they should do right after our program?
Wow. Well, so one is go to your profile and make sure that it's as thorough as humanly possible, so that people know who you are, why you do what you do, how to contact you, right? And then, you have to be as active as possible on this platform. So, you're going to get, the more you give, the more you're going to get, right?
Right.
So try to find any way possible that you can to be as active on the platform as possible, because you will get, back from the platform what, more than you give. The other thing that I would, and this isn't, in terms of activity, it's just remember that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So don't be discouraged if you do something expecting results and the results don't happen the way you want them to happen, the first time you do it, or even the second or third time. It's just, be resilient and just keep plugging at it, right? And eventually you are going to get the results that you want it, and more than likely you're going to get surprised by the results that you get. So those are probably, I mean, I know you asked for one thing, but those are that's the
a
advice
nice
I would give.
bundle. Yeah, that's incredible. Dan, what do you think other than the profile? Because I know you're going to say make that profile fantastic.
I'm a big believer in that. Let's just say that I'm going to focus on, let's just say that you've made a decision that the most important people for you to connect with are local. Those are the guys I'm going to talk to. If your market is local, well, this is my first journey on Alignable. I get in, I'm connecting all over the country, and I get all these people. Eventually it got confusing. I became a Premium Plus member so that I could take notes. And there's some features in there that help me organize it like a CRM. Because otherwise, when you start connecting with 1,000 people, if you don't have a premium account, it gets very confusing very quick on who should you be talking to, because you can organize things properly. So that would be one of my suggestions. If you're serious, be a premium. Then the next thing is dive into your local footprint. I'll just dice up Orange County for you. 90,000 businesses are in Orange County on Alignable. That's a big pool. That's a lot of people to pick from. The Orange County Business Alliance, the networking group, is now 1,900. That's where I would start connecting right away. If I lived in this area, my first stop would be go down that 1,900, introduce myself, and make strategic connections on people that I could do business with, I could network with, or I can build partnerships with that are in my backyard that I have a chance to say hello to and build from there. Then from there, my coaching at these meetings is always, okay, if this makes sense to you, who are you going to invite? You got 100 connects, you got 5 connects, you got 50 connects this month. Why don't you build your local alliance and build connections right in your backyard? Get them into these alliances so you can expand your, what I call that, up close first personal relationship. So either way, you can stay local, but really dive right into those alliance groups and make them bigger. It has exponential benefits to you and everybody in the group. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. How's that?
Yeah, I just check out. Let me add something. I'll thank Victor Felix for this. He's always gives me these great pieces of wisdom around everything to do with branding. So and this was changing my mindset about how I looked at Alignable. So 2 pieces of information he gave me. One was he said Alignable is it's not a social media platform. It's a social networking platform. Which is it's simple, but that's actually very profound. So I mean, that alone tells you that it's just a this platform is all about networking, obviously, but thinking about the platform and how you engage on the platform, you would engage for networking very different than you do if you're for media, right? So
Right.
so that was one piece that I always remembered that. And then the other thing was he said on any platform, every platform has its own love language. And so in order to get the most out of any platform, you have to figure out whatever you're doing to build your business, you've got to communicate in the love language of the platform that you're on, right? And again, that for me, that all of a sudden it clicked. Okay. So I need to figure out who's on this platform, how, what they're looking for, what kind of time they have, who they are, where are they in their business, so on and so forth. And for the things that I want to do to further what I want within the context of my business, I've got to format everything so that it communicates in the way that the audience I want to reach consumes information, right?
Love it.
Oh, good. I'm just glad we're recording this. Between the two of you, I'm like, I can't take notes fast enough.
Hey, Chuck, can I share one thing that I got from my call with Geoffrey?
Sure.
It went along this line. The man has a routine. He posts on Alignable 10 times, was it 10 times a day, right?
Yeah, and 10 different groups, and it's all
10,
each
10
piece of
different groups.
content is unique
Right.
every
His,
day.
his success is in groups, building a community within a group. He has a national reach. His group speaks to his expertise. Spot on. I mean, it's perfect targeting, it's perfect energy and return. Would you say that's about right? And then
Mhm.
and then the next thing that you do is that you at least do one connect exercise per week.
Yeah.
So ours is, I've got a local networking thing every week to go to. I got a personal one. There's 4 in Orange County. I go and I support the other ambassadors, and that's part of my posse, so to say.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I have a business partner. He's posting, at least once a day. And one of the things I shared in here is why your alignable profile. What you're going to find is when you take a look at that little video, Google's eating up everything I feed Alignable. and I've been testing this thing out. We've been a student of how to manipulate what we do on Alignable so that Google will see it and read it. And Alignable provides us with some great platforms and tools to do some very localized branding activities. Either way, for whatever it's worth, watch the little video I threw in there. I think you'll find it interesting.
I love it. And it's funny that you're Dan is an expert with local. And I've been traveling the country over the past 4 years, and I use that business directory a lot. And also the other thing that I noticed is when I could go to Google and I need a haircut or something, or I needed my RV worked on or whatever, I would always if I was searching for that on Google, if someone on Alignable had a filled out profile and it was someone that was a hairstylist, let's say, in Knoxville, Tennessee, or wherever I was, they would show up to the top of Google. So your profile is so important. So just like what these guys are saying, make sure that it's really optimized. And I'm sure Daniel will agree with me to keep it updated, right? Especially with your products, your services, and all that. And I'm going to just check in the newsletter. If you guys do not sit every Sunday and twiddle your thumbs and wait for the newsletter to show up in your email box, that's where your stuff shows up too. If you have a promotion that you're hosting or whatever, it shows up in the newsletter. So it's like free advertising in a lot of ways, right, Chuck? Am I correct
There
on that?
is. You are. You are. And thank you for plugging the newsletter.
Yeah. Hey, everybody should be watching for that every Sunday.
They should be. A lot goes into it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I want to ask you guys this. What are your daily habits on Alignable? So I know you talked a little bit about it, and Dan, you had talked to Geoffrey. So let's go to Geoffrey next. Let these anybody on Alignable know what is a great habit to have to keep going on Alignable and be, like you were saying, Geoffrey, being active on the platform. So go first. What's your kind of your daily habits?
Yeah, so as Dan said, I post 10 pieces of content a day, 10 unique pieces of content in 10 different groups. So
Wow.
I post on my profile page. I have my own group, the Entrepreneur University group. I post in that group, and then I have 8 other groups that I'm a member of. I'm a member of quite a few other groups, but 8 of the groups that I'm a member of, I also post on a daily basis, and I do this 365 days a year, right? So and what I'm posting are questions entrepreneurs should be asking themselves, as well as, because I read a lot, when I find articles that I think can help entrepreneurs. Obviously I'm limited with when you post, you have 750 character limit, so I've got to take a 2, 3, 4, 5 page article and say what are the 7, 8 most significant sentences. Let me put them in a post and make them all flow, and then give credit to wherever I got that information from, and then post that. So I do that maybe once or twice a week. But so I make sure I sleep 8 hours a night. I just don't sleep 8 consecutive hours. Normally I'm waking up somewhere in the 5, 6 a.m. time frame for the first time at night. And what I tend to do is, because I can't go right back to sleep, I just get up out of my bed, I get to my desk, turn my computer on, and I do my posting at like 5 or 6 in the morning. And then when I'm done, I go back to sleep, right? So that's the one thing I do. As I said, I have a group, Entrepreneur University Onlineable. So every Tuesday, I have Smart Connect events, so group members can meet each other. And then every other Wednesday, I actually teach on the platform. So in my group, I created a 6-part teaching series. I actually created this for other groups on Lineable and taught it to 3 other groups on Lineable before someone said, Jeff, why don't you have your own group and teach in your own group? And I'm like, I didn't know I could do that, So I got introduced to Brittany Sandoval, and I'm like, Brittany, people have been telling me I need to have my own group and teach in my own group. How do I do that? And she's like, well, what kind of membership do you have? Premium Plus. Absolutely. End of discussion. Just whatever you want to do it. So yeah, I teach every other Wednesday. Um, Try to attend as many other group Smart Connects as I can. And What else do I do?
That's
That's
awesome.
probably, that I mean, that's about, well, I actually just in January became an ambassador locally, so as well.
Right.
So once a month I do in-person ambassador events, and then I'm a co-ambassador with Dev Smith in the Philadelphia area, Philadelphia, PA. So I try to attend as many of Deb's events as possible, whether they're live or online.
Awesome. I love it. What about your daily habits, Dan? Would love to hear yours.
I get up first thing in the morning and I listen to Geoffrey.
Yeah, right.
Then I go back to bed. And I start over.
That alone, that alone is exhausting, right?
Right, that there alone has got my day done.
Oh my God.
So no, mine is, I just gotta catch up with the world really quick. And then as far as for my alignable activity, I mean, I actually went through an exercise at the beginning of the year, as soon as the 360 came through, where I actually cleaned out and probably got rid of almost 500 connections.
Wow.
And there was a reason I did that on my own. Part of it is that I think I'm in a kind of a new frontier of the way I'm approaching Alignable and the local search. And
Yeah.
if you're connected to me, and I'm methodical about who I connect with, I'm really trying to connect with people that need what I do, so that when I do post and I do education, I send out materials, it's specifically to that group, and they need what I've got. I'm not looking to really retrain every SEO guy on the planet to look at things differently. And then they can see all of my activity of who really needs local search. And then they just go, well, let me connect with everybody he's connected to. So at the end of the day, it's my database. So I protect it a certain way. I manage it as if it is my own property of a CRM. So either way, there's part of that. Then the other thing is at least a minimum of 10 videos per day, where I'll do a lot of audits. If you want, I'll drop an audit in here on what it looks like for a contract. And as a general rule of thumb, it's not a hard presentation. It's here's my observations. You can do this yourself if you choose to. But if you really want a professional to work on it, then here's what we can do for you on that. Either way, basic. I'll leave this in there, but it really is a crystal clear path for local search, where Alignable plays its part, how does it interact with a Google business profile, and what are the things that you can maybe do on your own if you choose to. So I'll drop that in here. It's a big takeaway. It's usually I do this type of an audit if I'm looking at somebody and I'm connecting with them, and it's my reach out to say, here's what I see. If you need this, then get back to me. That chews up a big chunk a day. To be honest, that's a big chunk of my day, just getting out. Hello, here's who I am. Here's my reach out to help you, working within the group. And then, of course, we got a lot to work on these days. So it's, right now it's getting done with the contracts that are in the door and making sure that I want them to tell other members within this investment group about what they've discovered.
Right.
I'm looking for word of mouth to do its thing on it. So let me just drop that in here right now.
Okay, Chuck, while he's doing that, what's your other questions for these amazing guys?
Well, I want to know from Geoffrey, in all of the different people and by the way, every time I ask you about how many different people you worked with, which I love this, you come up with 2 or 3 others, because again, this book came together largely because of Alignable. I mean, it's all your great knowledge and all of that, but the different people you found. And so looking at that, what would you say how can people replicate that? Not necessarily that they're going to need to write a book and they need an illustrator and this, but how can they replicate that in their business to say, guess what? I have 5 people who I hired or partnered with or contacted to do something in my business. What's the, what's the best way to go about that that's efficient to find the right people?
Yeah, so it's just leveraging this
Or just
network.
ask Victor.
Yeah. Just aspect, right. It's really just leveraging this network to whoever you're already connected with. Let people know what you need, right? And then ask for I always anytime I'm looking for anything, I want 3 to 5 recommendations, so I can vet all of those people and then select one. But yeah, just it was kind of the way I met Victor, as I said, I met this. So I public speak occasionally, and so I was on a panel in New York, and I forgot what the topic was, but I was on one of the other panelists was this woman named Claudette Forbin. So again, I didn't know she was on Alignable at the time. This was actually we were connected through this was a LinkedIn event, and
Mhm.
but I connected with her. Liked as I'm listening to her speak, just thought I liked her thought process, and so I connected with her, and so went about my life, and so now I'm in the process when I met her of creating an online course for entrepreneurs, and so I completed the course. I had a focus group take the course. The focus group tells me, hey, we love this course, but no one knows who you are outside of Philadelphia. You need to work on personal branding. And so I don't know anything about personal branding. So I'm like, oh, well, let me reach out to my network and see if anyone knows anybody. So I reached out to Claudette first and said, Claudette, this is what I've been told. I need to find people that are experts in branding to hire someone to help me. And she's, oh my God, you need to talk to Victor Felix. I'm like, okay, and so I talked to a couple of people, but when I talked to Victor, I was like, and I told him, I actually think I put this in a recommendation I gave for him. I'm like, I think Victor's been on Earth before because, to be his age, he knows way too much, great information, So, I hired Victor immediately, and so, but that's the way I go about meeting people, and I always
Right.
go back to no matter what you're doing. It's been said that that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time
Right.
with. So whenever you're doing anything in entrepreneurship or anything else in life, think of you know 5 people who are doing what you want to do or who are what you want to become. Surround yourself with them. Look at everything they do and mimic what they do, and you'll have the same results they have, right? So for whatever it is that you need to do, find those 5 people and just become a sponge.
And make sure one of them is Victor Felix.
Yeah, right. Well,
I
I
guess
don't,
we're gonna
I
need
don't want to
to. I don't
overwhelm
know.
Victor.
I don't know Victor, and I don't think anybody else here does. So I guess we'll have to interview him another time.
We do need to bring Victor in. Yeah, he's in the audience here too. So
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see.
I don't want
So
to overwhelm him.
all right. So Dan, so a little bit ago you were mentioning Alignable 360, and it kind of goes along with this conversation and some of the things about finding those right people to connect with and being able to go to your network page, go through your network, and it's all sorted and prioritized by ideal customers, referral partners, and who they know, because it's not just who you know, it's who the other people know. And someone on my we did an alignable etiquette 101 with our head of member success Amy today, and someone mentioned something like, well, this person wants to connect with me, but I looked at their profile and they don't have anything that I would want to connect with them with. But it's like, but do you know who they know? I mean, did you go to their network on Alignable 360? They may know 150 of your ideal customers. You don't know that, but Alignable knows that. And so have you used Alignable 360 to look into other people's networks and find those right people to connect with, Dan?
Yes. My connection process is one, I want to make sure that there there is no harm done, that it's a good connection, it's a valuable connection for both of us. Because I intend to share, I intend to help. So if we're connected, I'm going to be putting down stuff that I'm anticipating they're going to find value in. So uh, and it could be nonprofits, it could be chambers, because I'm trying to reach out to local chambers. I think they can be a partner. One of the things that we spotted that we would really love to change is I'd love to really engage chambers in a much more engaging partners process at the city level, because that city profile, I go to Anaheim, there's nothing in there. I want to talk about, it would be great if the city was a partner, because then they could put in events and bands and food things and community stuff. I mean, how cool would that be? They get a platform, they get to bring their posse, we all get to come together, and I just think it'd be a good thing. So
Just lose track of it.
Question?
I think you answered it.
Using the Alignable 360 to find the people to connect with and look into their
part of my couple of months ago, I did a really deep dive into the profile, and I think you should do it every 3 months. We're going to be coming up with a refresh on ours at least 2 more times this year, because we've got new things that'll be rolling out. But you should actively review that profile and make sure that you know it. Like, if you look at mine, you'll see plumbers, electricians, you'll see fencing contractors, you'll see every home service industry I could think of, because those are our ideal partners. Those are the people that need to win a local question. So Alignable then just did all of my filtering for me after I really went through my profile in detail. Now I can see in that 360, part of the premium service, now I can see how many of their connections match my profile. And from there, then I might nurture that relationship for introductions. I might just then reach out directly and say hello and make a connection with them. I might take Sue and say to this group, because I know she's connected with 5, 6, 7, 8 other people, what a great thing Sue said. So, because I'm trying to build a connection of, hey, I'm engaged, you're engaged, Sue, I know Sue, let's name drop, let's get creative. I've been in marketing a long time, so I have no problem reaching out and saying hello.
So on that note, I'm dying to ask this question. And it looked like I'm like a Godzilla movie right now. I don't know what's going on with my thing. But anyway, you guys both seem to me like extroverts. Are you both extroverts, or are you introverts pretending to be extroverts?
I'm one of 13 kids. I was the middle child. There was 6 that way. There was 6 that way. Being in control of that mix was an art that I learned very early.
Oh my God, how to stand out. That's hilarious.
I mean, probably ambivert then. That's everything.
And we're all in wrestling, so every night somebody was going down. So you really had to be on your toes. So anyway, that's my background.
Okay.
I'm the youngest of 4 kids, so I actually can exhibit both extroverted and introverted qualities depending on when it benefits me and depending on my mood. So I probably lean more towards introversion than extroversion, but and again I can depending on the environment when people see me, they're like there's no way in the world you're an introvert, but it's probably how comfortable I am in an environment. I
Right.
think when I'm really comfortable, I become an extrovert, and I probably do it in excess. But when I'm not comfortable, I mean, I can withdraw and not interact, and I can literally I can stand right next to you and not even see you, So it really depends on my mood and the circumstances.
And I'm asking that just for this audience, because sometimes we have a lot of introverts who are like, oh my God, please, Dan could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah.
He's not going to ever, I'm not like that. Or, and I'm basically trying to say to everyone, hey, you know what? This is a great platform for extroverts, for people who were born in the middle of a family of 13 kids, for anybody. whether
Yeah.
you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. The thing I want to say to the newbies is I keep hearing from introverts that this platform makes them comfortable enough
Mhm.
to look like extroverts and
Yeah.
Yes.
to connect, which is something that you want to keep in mind too. But really, there's something for everyone here, and I think it's a great example of that. And Sue tells me she keeps telling me she's an introvert, and I am. As I get older, I'm getting to be more and more of an extrovert. I can't help myself.
Right.
So, we sort of have everything covered here, but so personality plays a big role. I'm going to actually ask Geoffrey that. What about your personality and Alignable? Like what personality should you bring to Alignable to succeed?
You should bring whatever personality is naturally you. You need to be
Right.
authentic, right? You have to be authentic, right? So you have to find out. Well, first of all, you have to have a goal, whatever a goal for your company. What do I want to achieve through this platform? And then, how do I achieve that? Being my authentic self, right? Because if
Right.
you're not, people are going to sense the falseness, and it's not going to be effective, right? So you have to be authentic. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. And I actually wanted to address the previous question because Dan got into this a little bit. I always tell entrepreneurs, you do yourself a disservice and you actually undermine your business when you come to whether it's Alignable or anything else. All you're looking for is a customer. Hopefully, we all get customers when we're going to things, but you need to expand what you're looking for, right? Because you need more than customers for success. So when you're going to an event, hopefully, I mean, you get a customer, but I mean, you might also get, we need to buy things to provide the products and services we provide. You need suppliers. Maybe someone in one of these meetings can become a great supplier, you know, and if you're already buying something and you find someone else who's providing that same product or service and they can sell it to you for less than what you're already paying, you just reduce your costs without changing your business, right? Um, um, Someone could become, maybe they're a complementer. They have a product or service that complements yours. So now you can bundle your product with theirs and provide a more impactful solution for your customer base, right? That's an easier way to make a sale. Maybe someone is just, they have so much knowledge and experience that they become a great mentor, right? Um, or maybe just as you develop this relationship with them because of the extent of their network, as you're successful building your business, you're going to need employees. You can't do this by yourself as you start to scale. You need other people to help you. And so when you're looking for employees, to be able to go to someone in the network and say, hey, I'm looking for, a bookkeeper. I'm looking for, whatever. Do you know anyone? And you could hire them as a contractor, but you could hire them as an employee too. So there's lots of ways that you can build relationships to build your business. It doesn't just have to be, hey, well, if they're not going to be a customer, then I don't want to participate. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face when you do that.
Mhm. Great point.
I have to jump in on that one. Thank you so much for all the things you just said, because if we want to talk about introverts and extroverts, and yes, I'm an introvert, and I'm very much like you, Geoffrey. It's like I can be out there like I did yesterday with Dan and his thing and talking and being myself, but when I get in my car to drive home, it's like, oh my God, I gotta be by myself for a little bit. Too much energy, too much excitement. It's like, okay, I gotta calm down a little bit. I came back and took a nap, which I never do. Anyway, but just to say, so, and we'll wrap this up here in a minute, but and I'll go to Dan next. But those of you who do consider yourself introverts, remember that, it's like so much better to listen. And if you put in your brain that you want to find people who know your ideal customers, so you can build the raving fans of people that know and love and trust you so much that when they're out networking and they meet and they know you well enough to know who your customers are. If they're in a smart connect and it's like, oh my gosh, Sue wanted to meet on to chiropractors or whatever, and I'm talking to a chiropractor, oh my gosh, you have to meet my friend Sue. And start building those referral partnerships. And also and I'm going to post in here, I'm going to let Chuck take over in a second here. I'm going to post an event that I'm doing on the 16th called Find the Right Customers on Alignable, and figure out who your ideal customers and referral partners are. And like when Dan was talking about Alignable 360, the only way that works is if you have that correct on your profile. So it's super important. I'm going to post the link to the event coming up. But let's wrap this up. Chuck, should we go through and find out what their final tips are?
I'm going to ask them what the final tips are, but I'm also going to ask, why is it important to be premium? Geoffrey?
I would say just it just makes it so much easier to navigate the platform, right? There's so much more you can do in terms of, as a premium member, I see who goes to my profile page. I see who, if they're attending events in my group or my alliance, I get so much, more granulated detail on that then allows me to engage with them better, right, and
Right.
more closely because of that granulated detail that I'm getting. So that would be, yeah, and then I just think the ability to do more on the platform, become more visible, is only going to help you with your business. So
Super. Dan, what do you have to say about that?
I would have see. I'm sold on Alignable. That was the decision that kind of came in. I liked what I saw as a network, and I like where it's going. In 2 years, I've seen great movement in a very, very positive direction. Love being part of helping that movement. So, I mean, I think it's a bigger community team effort. What the premium allows you to do is you can become an ambassador, so you can get engaged. You can reach out to more people on a monthly basis. You can stay organized with your connections. That's really kind of if you got 1,000 connections, if you don't have premium and you can't put in tags and notes, you're going to get lost pretty quick. It's a sea of confusion. So at a certain point in time, you really just got to go, I need to get organized. And the only way I can do this on Alignable in any scale is I need to be a premium and I need to be engaged.
Yes.
I need to be engaged. And that premium card is what gives you the ticket in to truly be engaged. And we're not talking big dollar amounts anyway. So it was an easy decision.
That's excellent.
So I posted it. Thank you, Dan. That was really good. And exactly when I started Alignable was a similar thing. And there wasn't even anything on Alignable when I joined. Like there were no groups, there were no nothing. And I still saw the value way back then. But I did post a list of links in the chat for everyone. There's a link to the Alignable University group where you can sign up for the next events that we do here, the next member success series. We have really great people coming up that we're interviewing, and there's also a link to the YouTube channel where you can binge watch all the other ones, and this one will be posted later today. The replay, if you want to go back and suck in all this amazing knowledge and great tips from these wonderful guys. There's also a Alignable Insider Community Group. This is for any paid members on Alignable. You have to be verified premium or premium plus to be a member. And holy cow, we have so many amazing events in there. We have Insider Mastermind, Smart Connects. You get free Alignable coaching by Kathy on our Alignable member success team every Tuesday. Definitely want to be in that group. I think I might be reaching out to you guys to do some events in there. That might be kind of fun. Also, there's links to sign up to be apply, I should say, to be an ambassador or a group leader. And there's also my mastermind that I do every single Friday. Definitely you should come, Geoffrey. I don't think we've seen you in there. Have you been in that? I don't know. You're a great asset.
I'm not sure whether I've been or not, to be honest with you.
Every single Friday. I've been doing it for more than 5 years. Been doing it every single Friday, even on holidays. And if you are not a premium member, anybody here that's here right now, you'll have to click on the link before we close the event. If you want to 20% off your first month to try out premium, you can do that as well in the chat. Any last minute things? I think you guys are amazing.
Amazing.
I don't know. I learned a lot.
Mind blown. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just my last parting piece of wisdom for entrepreneurs is, you know, if you want to help you build your business, you need to understand that 2.5% of the global population believes what you believe, right? And those people, they're called first movers. They'll buy what your products or service are impulsively. The trick for entrepreneurs is how do I get to that 2.5% that will impulsively buy my products and services? And it's regardless of whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it's telling your story. It's telling people why you do what you do, right? And when you do that, when you communicate who you authentically are, the people that believe what you believe will find you. You don't have to find them. And when they find you and see that, hey, you know, Dan gets me, Sue gets me, Chuck gets me, they will, whatever you sell, they will buy it impulsively. So again, don't try to figure out where are these people. Just tell who you are and why you do what you do.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Our time is up for today. Please, everyone, go back to this event post, connect with these two guys. I'm sure they would absolutely love to talk to you and expand on all this amazing wisdom they provided for us today.
Thank
Chuck,
you,
thank you.
everybody. Oh my God.
Thank you, Sue and Chuck.
Awesome. Thank you. See
Please.
you guys next week. Thanks, Dan. It was great to see you yesterday.
Thanks, Dan. You guys were
See you soon.
fabulous.